Okay, we're moving right along in 12.4 here, moving through this unit. So in this section, we're going to construct parallel lines. In the last section, we did perpendicular lines. Whoops, parallel. Whoops, just thinking perpendicular. Parallel lines and equilateral triangles. So the first thing we want to do as a warm-up, we want to make a copy of that triangle. So let's see if we can remember how to do this without looking at anything. If you'll recall, what we did is we made a copy of usually the longest side. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up and kind of orient this the same way. So I'm going to draw it about from here to there. Now I know that's too long, and what we do is we first measure off the length of this side right here. So I'm going to go ahead and go from outer point to outer point. So that looks pretty good there. So we're going to go ahead and mark this off over here. So what we've done is we've made sure that that side is congruent to that side. Now remember, this is the new end point right here, and that's the end point, even though it extends beyond it in that direction. So now what we're going to do is we're going to copy these two angles, because we're using angle-angle similarity in order to, congruence in order to make this work. Ooh, now see what I did there? I made that go a little bit too long, so I need to make this a little bit shorter. And it would be nice if we could use this on both of them. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm not going to change the compass setting. And I'm going to go like that. Okay. Now, remember, I make this arc over here and that arc over there. So I'm going to do the same thing on my copy. So we're going to come down here, put a point there. Now this one's a pretty big angle. So we'll go ahead like that. And then this one right here, we're going to do the same thing there. So I'm going to put a little point right there, center point right there, and then we'll make this arc. And then what I do is I measure both of these. Now I am hoping that I have enough room here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and say I've got those lined up right here, and then see what this is going to look like. See where these intersect. Oh, I just barely have enough room. Now I could have done a trick if that didn't fit. I could have come over here and, I wouldn't have been able to do that because I didn't make that one long enough. So good thing that this fits. So we're going to go ahead and mark here, center point right there, and then we're going to mark this off. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to measure from this point to this point. So we're going to measure this small angle right here. That looks like it's a little bit too big. Okay, that one looks good. Again, really kind of tough when we have these tiny little angles right here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and draw this line right here. Again, line up with that intersection point, line up with the end point there. So we're going to go ahead and go like this. And then let's mark this one off. Let's see where we are there. That looks good. And remember, I'm not going to this point right here. I need to line it up with that one. So luckily I made that one long enough. So let's go ahead and line this up. And am I lined up there? That one looks good. So we're going to go ahead and go like that. So this side is congruent to that side. And what we just did is we made sure that that angle is congruent to that angle and that angle is congruent to that angle. So these two triangles, they would be congruent. Okay, so we're in good shape there. All right, now let's talk about today's topic. So we're going to talk about how to construct a line that's parallel through a point. Okay, and the method we're going to use is called the rhombus method. So go ahead and watch that really quickly, and then we'll come back here and we'll do one. Let's go ahead and follow through how to do these. So if we're going to draw a line through this point that's parallel to this one right here, we start off by making sure that we set our compass at that point, and we need to make it longer than the distance to that line. So I'm going to make it about that long. Again, we want to make sure that when we draw these arcs that it would fit on the line. So we're in good shape there. Now, it does say that we need to make sure that we start off kind of above this point right here, because we're going to use this circle for the entire thing. Okay, so it's got to be the intersection point on the line, both points on the lines, and then it's got to be whatever intersection point we have up here. Okay, so here's the next thing we do. We don't adjust the compass at all, and we're going to come to this intersection point right here, and we're going to make a mark on that line. Okay, so what we've done is we've made sure that this line right here is the same as the distance to right there. So we've kind of got, if you can kind of see, we've got a triangle right here and made right here. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to do one more of these. Again, we haven't changed our compass at all with this method. Okay, we're going to mark that off right there. And then we are actually good to go right now, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this point right here, this point of intersection right there, and we're going to line it up with that original point. So I've got that point right there. Let me see if that's a little bit off. Okay, so is that going to work? Yep, that's going to be good. Okay, so I'll draw this a little bit longer. Okay, so that means the two of those are parallel. So I'm going to go ahead and put a mark right here and a mark right there to indicate that those are parallel. And this is called the rhombus method. There are some other methods. You might want to take a minute to watch those. But here's why it's called the rhombus method. Remember, we marked off that this line was the same as this line right here. And then we did the same thing right here. We used a compass to go right there. And then I'm just going to kind of make one more point. Watch what happens if I line up right there. It goes right back there. So what we've done is we've made it's basically a square tilted on its side, kind of pushed over. So what that means is these two sides are parallel. It's a parallelogram. All right. Any rhombus is a parallelogram also. So we're going to come over here. And again, the technique is this. We're going to put our point right here. We're going to make sure we extend it past the line and make sure that it will hit here. So we're going to go ahead and mark there, and then I'm not going to draw the entire arc, but I am going to come up here, and I need this at least up here, because we're going to use that point, and then an intersection point over here to make this work. And then we're going to come over here. We start at this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to put my point right at the point of intersection. Okay, we're going to draw a little line right there. We're going to grab this one, and we're going to draw, let's see if we can get that to work. Okay, need that point to line up there. Okay, and those intersect right there. Now I just come back and I line up that intersection point here. So lined up right there, looks good. And then we draw that. So that line is parallel to that line right there. Okay, again, that's called the rhombus method. If you want to look up some other methods, there's we can do a parallel by copying angles, and then parallel by copying triangles. This method tends to be the easiest because you only have to set up your compass once. Really kind of nice that it works that way. All right, let's take a look at the other page. Okay, I'm going to have this playing in the background while we do this because this is really quick and really easy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a point that's going to serve as one of the vertices on our new triangle. So I'm going to slide this up here, and I'm going to do this point right here. Now I made this a little fatter than I probably need to. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set the compass on the length that we want. So I'm going to put the point right here on this end, and then I need to make this a little bit smaller. See if we can, oops. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Now, it's really important. We don't change the compass at all from now on. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the center point, this new point on our line. Okay, and we're going to come over here and we're going to make a couple of arcs. So we're going to make an arc over here, and then we're going to come up on the top and we're going to make an arc right here. Okay, and as you saw before, you can kind of visualize the triangle. We're going to have a line going here, over to here, and then back over to there. Okay. So then we're going to come over anywhere we want on this other one, and we put a point on there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw this right now, just so that we've got those two defined. Okay, and then we're going to go from this point right here, so from that vertex of the triangle up to right there. Okay, now if I were to just come over here and not put a point there or something like that, I could put a mark over on there, but then I've got to keep track of, oh, I put my pencil mark over here, but I didn't put one over there. So once we've got that, then it's just a matter of lining up that last intersection with this point that we created right here. So we'll draw that right there. And then we'll do one more. We've got the original original point right here, line it up with that last intersection, and there we go. Now, because we didn't change the compass setting at all during that entire thing, all three of these are exactly the same, and that's what it means to be an equilateral triangle. So let's go ahead and do another one. Again, I'm going to come down here, and we'll make one with that side length B. It goes really quickly once we get the hang of it. So we're going to go ahead like this. We're going to measure off that distance. So just like that. Whoops, it needs to be a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. Now I'm doing this a little bit differently than I did the last one. If I wanted to, I could draw the line first and then mark off that distance. That's totally okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. I'm going to draw a little mark right there. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to make that the new center point and put this right here. And again, now all I need to do is go from that last intersection point to the original point, and then that new one right there. So we're going to have, let's see, let's line these up here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Go to right there, and then do the same thing over here. We'll line this one up with that intersection point right there. And there we go. And again, the important thing is you'll notice that this is the same compass all the way through. So there's always little variations that you can do, but that gets us through this one and we're in good shape. Okay, go ahead and fill out the self-assessment for this one and get busy on the assignment. Good luck.